right, everybody. Welcome to Fired Up Friday, the second episode. We're here in cool Florida. Last time we did this, it was like 82 degrees and we're sweating. It's like, 50, 55 degrees and in a hurricane today. So,
Are we rolling?
yeah, we're rolling.
Okay, we're live.
We're live.
Okay,
so,
cool.
anyways, welcome everybody. And for those of you that didn't join us, I'm Todd Fuller with FIREDISC and Chef Brandon McGlamery, our newest ambassador for FIREDISC. And holy cow, look at this wind!
This is crazy.
And this is going to give the test today for the wind helmet. That's for sure.
Yes, definitely.
But
I think we're gonna have some flying objects coming into us.
we'll
but
have
you know what?
some natural, elements to the recipe.
We'll call it wild foraged. It wildly foraged its way into our
right.
food. So
Oh, awesome. Well, thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. And today we're going to start out by talking about just the essence of the FIREDISC and really show you the different heat zones. I know there's a lot of comments on Facebook and on the Facebook FIREDISC group page about it being really hot in the center. And by God, it is really hot in the center.
Yes.
And it was designed that way. So we're going to talk today about looking at the different heat zones here, and we've got a laser temperature device that Chef Brandon brought along, and we're gonna talk about that. And then the recipe we're gonna do today is a surf and turf that he loves to do. It's, last time we did recipes that were really kind of not so healthy, but today we're gonna do some healthy recipes. We're gonna do a surf and turf with chicken and shrimp and some select vegetables. So Chef Brandon, let's go ahead and talk about, I know we talked about this last time, what is that, the way the FIREDISC is designed and with the indirect heat underneath, it's a really interesting and a different way to cook, and I think different than a lot of people cook. So maybe talk about, the stage cooking, and we're going to show that, but I know you were really impressed with that as a cooking tool for being able to really cook a meal differently than on any other cooking device.
well, I mean, thinking a lot of cooking elements. If you ever watch cooking shows or anything like that, or you're into it, even in restaurants, how we do it, we want to be able to control the temperature of how we're cooking in stages.
Right.
And what I mean by that, sometimes we want to go fast, sometimes we want to go medium, sometimes we want to go slow.
Right.
And that's with temperature. So this has really all three zones, and it's built into one. And if you go to a lower temperature, then it can go low right in the center and barely warm. So in this recipe that we're going to be doing today, we're going to basically be doing everything in one pot, removing a couple things and then chopping them up to make finish the sauce, while everything else is remaining and cooking and finishing and staying warm. And on a cold day like today, 54 degrees in Florida, and we're like once we can do this, we're just. And I know people watching this in like Minnesota are just gonna be like,
well, I can see your breath. I can see your breath.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
Well, and I know that people are all around the country and much colder than here, snowing, schools closed. I know there's a big, cold front coming through the U.S., but it's cold for here. But anyways, let's go ahead and kind of get the laser temperature out and show the difference in the zones here.
I kind of got it back here like I got my Glock,
That's right. That's right.
Got it. And basically what this is, it's just a laser temperature. It can be used for a lot of different things, but as you do it, it has a red laser beam. So anybody with that don't like laser beams with PTSD or anything may not like this. But so we're showing right now reading without any fat oil in the pan at 540 and just that black dot. That's very hot. Our pizza ovens at our restaurant Prado, they're 700 degrees in certain spots, and then you put on the fire, it kind of blinks out because it's done. You kind of go up to a zone right here where it's not as black. It's 350, okay? Then you come up to here, and that's 130, all the way at the top. That's 183 at that, maybe because of a little wind, but
yeah.
So it is. It's actually 140 right there.
Awesome.
Were you able to see that on there? I
Yeah.
hope. If you're not, I know it's small and stuff like that, but it holds it and just makes sure that where your zone is, it's great.
Right.
If you're frying oils, instead of taking the thermometer in there, that's where these things really excel. Right. They're inexpensive.
Right.
We use them in tarpon fishing to tell its water temperature, so we know where. Awesome. So we kind of go out and
right.
I mean, I guess you could use it hunting if you're looking for optimal temperature zones and stuff. They're really great. So
Anyway,
Um,
so yeah, I mean, so the fire disc really, and yes, it's hot. And what we want to do, on further episodes is to kind of show you how to cook different dishes. You know, some of the parts of the recipe you want to cook fast, and then be able to move them up, right?
Sure.
So that's what we hope to do. And like I said, we know it's different. It's really hot in the center, and there we do have a new burner and regulator that are on the new fire discs, and also that is available on the website. So if you want to upgrade that, that's available, and I'm sure we'll put the link on the page to see that as well. But anyways, let's go ahead and get started with the surf and turf
all right,
recipe.
well, cool. Let's give it one little wipe of all that.
There you go.
Stuff.
And while he's putting the oil in and stuff, as we did on the last episode in the last series, we gave away stuff for people that left comments. So leave comments. We're also this time going to, after the recipe's done, we're gonna answer some questions live that you may have for Chef Brandon in regards to the recipe. And so we're excited about that too, to be more engaged with you guys and as we move forward. So what are you gonna do?
So yeah,
first
so
here?
what today is I'm just gonna be cooking ad hoc style a lot of times and not naming a dish per se, but basically just doing some simple chicken breasts.
Okay.
And then I went to the market today, which is a lot what we do in our restaurants, and just found what really looked nice and what spoke to me, and then I'll incorporate a dish. So what we're gonna do is like a chunky vinaigrette that we're gonna roast some beautiful peppers. I got a couple jalapenos thrown in there. I got a couple of these very sweet peppers, and after they're nicely roasted in here with some onions and shallots and garlic, I'll kind of chop it up and kind of put that aside with some olive oil and season up with some lemon juice.
Okay.
So it's kind of got that
Nice.
flavor. And as soon as that goes in, I'll have the broccoli rabe and some beautiful Romanesco, which is it's related to the cauliflower, but it's a little bit hornier.
Huh.
It's very cool, great tasting vegetables. They're always playing around and mutating different vegetables.
Got it.
So this is one of those things, and that'll be our based vegetable underneath. It could be a potato or anything like that, but the chicken, and then once we pull that off, we'll get the shrimp in there, cook the shrimp, and fold that into our vinaigrette,
Okay.
and spoon over our chicken.
Awesome.
So
Well, you-
right here we got some normal organic chicken breasts and we have all these lovely spices that you guys do. And why don't you?
Which one are we gonna do today?
I mean, it's foul. I mean, we got the
Do
cha
the
cha
fowl.
cha.
I think we do the stir fry.
You
What
want
do
to do the
think?
stir fry?
Let's do the stir
I
fry.
taste them all. I think they're all great. So, that stir fry, you just want to. Humidity in Florida is fun. Get that all up on there. I think we're gonna need to go with this because I played with it earlier.
All right.
So we'll go with that one. Just get that
Season
nice
it
enough.
up.
Yeah. And this has actually got a decent amount of salt in it. So we don't want to do too much salt right here,
Okay.
but I always want to do enough. And I'm always economical if you have any extra. Trying to get all that last bit of seasoning up.
Right.
I'm trying to get
So
that.
you just let me know. Last time, we did the goulash thing and kind of,
You just sit there and look
So-
pretty today. It's not
Just
hard
let
for
me
you to
know.
do,
Let me
okay.
know what I need to do
got you.
here.
So I mean, I think these have a good amount of salt on them. So I sometimes brine my chicken before I go in here with the salt and sugar thing. Doom. So I know right then and there my oil's nice and hot because it's sliding.
Right.
So I'm in a nice. My goal when I'm doing this, I'm looking for a nice browning on the top of my meat.
Okay.
Okay. And then what we'll do is kind of rotate that and.
I tell you, this fire disc feels good today.
Very nice.
Warm.
Yeah,
Keep it
definitely.
warm.
It's actually working. And so with this, what I like is I start to get that browning on there. And I know the oil is going to be up there. Thanks, bud. I was waiting for you to handle me that. So I kind of get that going. And the other thing that I love about this thing is that all the juices remain. And they kind of come back into it. So,
Right.
so your juice, your cooking juices, they come off of it. They're going to stay within intact in your dish. So,
Right.
and
Just
the
really,
fond, as the French call it, the foundation, is always going to be in the pan. So you're going to kind of, like the gravy in the Thanksgiving
right.
pan.
Really
That-
really
that-
adds to the flavor.
Yeah, completely. So we got that. So I basically can move it around in any which way. But and then what I'm going to do is first thing, so I'm going to start just adding some vegetables in there because this is where this thing kind of gets in there. And then once I get them nice and, one thing I'm careful of not doing is overloading the pan though.
Right.
That's like, in certain cooking situations, you basically just stop your cooking and then all of a sudden it has to work so hard to do it.
Right.
This thing amazingly keeps temperature,
yeah.
keeps temperature really well. I think the most thing that impressed me is it kept temperature better than almost most things out in the market. And then in this, see how nice and blistering these jalapenos? Now these are spicy, these are sweet. And then once I get them in there, I get some nice little reaction. I'm going to eventually come back out on those jalapenos and take the seeds out because they're spicy.
Okay.
And then I'll put them on the side in case I want to adjust it with it.
Right.
But sometimes, I mean, depending on what your friendly level is.
Right.
I think that's the most important is what are you comfortable with and how what maxes you out and you don't. I'm a medium kind of wimp. You know, I don't know what kind of wimp you are.
Well, I'm not like super hot, but I do like it spicy.
Yeah,
I do like it spicy.
But where you can't taste anything else, I'm kind of like,
no.
You know, this is kind of fun. This was fun, but not so much fun anymore.
Now the boys in Texas, they like it spicy, so you know.
So what I'm doing is I'm kind of moving these up here, and instead of blasting, you know, the meat where it seizes up and it dries out so fast. You know, the boys in Texas can understand this. You know, slow barbecue.
Yeah.
You know, this is not to relate this to barbecue, but it's kind of when you move your proteins off and give it a little bit more time to cook at a lower temperature, it sometimes works out. Now, if this was a steak or something, I wouldn't slow it down because I want that medium rare in the center to stay rare. But this is poultry; you want to cook it all the way through, so it can take a little bit lower heat. Once you get that nice browning on the outside. So I got a nice little browning going right there.
Already.
So got the, and I'm just gonna get these nice and, man, it's cold. I mean,
I know
it's warming
cold.
you up, but it's I ain't gonna lie. Yeah,
well, we can't complain. There's lots of other people that are not standing outside today, right? Cooking.
No.
Although you could cook with this thing in the snow, no problem.
Well, we were supposed to be due rain, which may show up here in a minute, but we'll be okay if it does. We're friends with rain.
That's right.
And so as this is going, you know, that chicken's still cooking. It may not look like it's cooking because it's not, but that's 129 up on the edges right there.
Yeah.
So you can look right, my chicken breast is 68 degrees on the outside right there. But if we flip it over, it'll show that it's hotter.
Right.
Now, one thing I like about this is there's different colors in here. So if I throw another vegetable that takes longer to cook, I can identify it and I can move it out and I can separate it. But if you're doing all green stuff, then it gets hard. So if I threw the broccolini in there with whoa, stable production site going off, that's great.
All right, so you gonna pull that chicken back down in there?
No,
now,
no, I'm gonna. So since we have some time in doing this, I'm gonna leave that up. I'm gonna say to maybe closer to that, I'll start that. But I think it's fine. I'm just doing it slowly. I mean, we've got about 20 more minutes of cooking here easily. So I can easily, flip it and know that it's gonna continue to cook on one side.
Right.
And cook on that side. So easily.
Make sure that
wind
helmet's still working good.
Yeah, is that wind helmet working?
Oh yeah.
Seems to do really good.
Yeah, if we didn't have that thing, it would. It makes it a challenge, but that wind helmet really helps with
this kind of
protecting that
situation.
flame. Yeah, especially this. When you're outside, camping, and that's why we're doing this series outside. Really, is to show the versatility. And on windy days, you can still cook. A lot of other grills and other cooking devices, propane-wise, it's they could possibly blow out with the heavy wind. So
Yeah, well now you last time we did it with these little small camping ones, and you got it hooked up this time to the propane tank that you have at your house.
Right.
So you know your power on this is going to be all day. So
Right.
if you were deep frying chicken or something like this out here and you had multiple
Right.
batches, you
Right.
kind of want to go with that. If you're only cooking on the camping stove, that's good, right, for 5 to 6 uses.
Right.
But when you're going long term like this, and it's a little bit more economical because we know those, and we always have those.
Yeah, it's a great option, and you know, if you're using it in the backyard, to have it be we've got an adapter for the gauginator for the larger propane tank, and yeah, it works really good.
So what I'm really looking for on these is for all that blister right there, and on these little sweet peppers, and they are sweet. I don't know if you've had these.
Oh yeah.
The cool thing about these peppers is even the stems are 100% edible, even with the stems. So
Really?
I'll have those in the relish, you know,
Right.
with the shrimp tails and everything, you know.
Awesome.
So nothing will go to waste. You see how that jalapeno right there? Once it starts to split, you know it's got a good potential of cooking. And then with these, you can easily move them up here, kind of put them up on the side, and they're still gonna stay warm and cook up there like that. But I'm gonna get them all nice and blistered, just so I know I'm not gonna have any raw pepper in there. So, and they're so. This is a very festive, lively relish sauce.
Really?
I call it relish. It's a sauce. Relish can be a salsa. I'm sure there's a technical term for it, but we call it. We use it as a sauce very dramatically in the restaurants with different vegetables, different ingredients, and it's usually bound together by an olive oil and a vinegar, whether it be lemon juice or vinegar or something like that together. So.
How are you going to make it today?
Well, I'm going to do roasted peppers. I'm going to chop them up. I'm going to get some garlic in there, which I have on the side.
Nice.
And we'll put that in there with some of that, and just going to put that, and then last minute we'll get the shrimp done while that's sitting in a bowl, kind of marinating and warm.
Right.
So hopefully it'll stay warm out here. It's kind of like an icicle outside.
Kinda.
Kind of. So, you know, I know I'll just get these over here to that. And I'll start transferring my peppers over there when I'm ready. And then, try to move
That chicken is looking good.
The chicken's looking great. We are fighting the elements today, Todd.
Yeah. Well.
You know.
That's what it is when we're live. You know, you never know the situations. You just gotta.
But see how
roll with it.
that's nice, and that's going to continue to cook a little bit. So once it gets nice and soft and it starts to look, you know, nice and willowy, withered up.
Right.
So like that, we just know that it's kind of their flesh is giving up a little bit, and it's giving up most of its resistance.
So tell me, why are you cooking with them whole instead of chopped up? Is there a reason, or
I think the juices stay better.
Okay.
I can control it. They blister them. You can peel them easier if you don't want that skin on top of them.
Right.
These their skin is so small. I just like the dramatic part of cooking with it. If you're going for a quick stir fry, chop them up. You want it to be cooked up. But here, I'm waiting for the chicken to cook at all the time. So as you see, you know, the whole goal is to have everything else finished at the same time the chicken's done.
That's right.
So that's why I moved the chicken up and in and out of zones.
Right.
Because it'll be, by the time we get the broccolini in there and everything. So think of it like that goulash that you were doing last time. You had everything in layers. You know, you sweated your onions and your garlic, and then your peppers, and then you added your meat, right? Was that how you did it?
Well, I did the meat first,
and
then the onions and peppers.
So you were just cooking in layers.
Yep.
Kind of what you were doing. And then once they start to get like this, I'm really happy with where they are now. So I may keep these jalapenos. They were a little bit thicker than everything else. Right. Maybe keep those in there for a little bit. Any of the other ones that are giving me a little bit more length time so we can get this show moving. So I'm going to give that a nice chop with the knife once it cools down. Okay. And some people will take a piece of saran wrap and wrap it on top of them, and it'll help steam it and help cook it continuously even more. So.
A little salt.
Yeah, a little salt. So now I got that going. Got my nice little broccolini. This is flowering broccoli. But I love the stems. I mean, I love this stuff. And this has got a little bitterness on it. The Italians love this stuff. Broccoli rabe, stuff like that. And so get that nice and cooked. A little bit of salt. And I get my.
Well, it's kind of cool because this recipe is so different than what we did last time.
Oh, yeah.
With the wings and the goulash, it shows the real versatility of the fire disc, and I think for me that's really one of the most exciting things about this product is it's so versatile. You can do so many different things. So what do you?
So I'm just slicing up some shallot right now. Once that starts to wither, I'll get this in there. I love onions. I mean, they are base in a lot of the cooking that I do.
Right.
They're probably, I think if I had top 5 things to take to an island, an onion would be on there.
Really?
Have to.
I mean, I love onions too, but I don't know.
I just think they're in everything.
They are.
You know?
I use them for everything as well.
Yeah.
For sure.
I just find them to be, roasted whole. It's funny, my brother hated them growing up, and I loved them. I could eat them in any form. And the only thing he liked on an onion ring was the batter.
Oh, really?
And so he would always take the batter off. I'm gonna do that. And broccoli rabe. So see how it's nice and starting to wilt nice and good and things like that. I'll keep everything down in there.
I would have never thought to do this. I mean, that's really cool.
And then, what it actually does, we start out with that amount of oil, but a lot of it's been done and absorbed into it. But we're not cooking with we're not eating a lot of oil.
Right.
So as you were seeing right there. And then we'll just turn this down to a little bit lower temperature, Will you turn that down really quick? You're standing over there, just regulate it. I kind of moderate it now. And I always have water or chicken stock kind of hanging off. So kind of do this a little bit. Put that, and these now it's going to continue to steam a little bit.
Right.
And if it starts to dry out at all, I'll just add a little bit of water into it. But at such a low heat, it shouldn't start to blacken or anything, and everything will cook nice and slow. Of course, I'm going to get my garlic in there too.
Man, that's looking good. Can you guys see that? It's. I can't wait. That's one of the great things about doing this live. At the end, we get to partake.
I'm not going for Goodfellas thin garlic, but I'm going thin. So. Some people use a garlic grater. I like to do it this way in this cooking because I can see if the garlic's about to go. The wind doesn't want to give up today.
I know.
All right.
Well, at least it's not raining on us, right?
That's so true.
Or snowing or sleeting or...
One of the other things that it could be doing.
Yeah.
And now I think my jalapenos are almost right there. I just think, the cool thing about this is all the flavors just going in there.
Man,
so you could use chicken stock, but actually if the chicken drops juice, it's going to hit there and it's going to cook. It's creating its own chicken stock, right?
Right.
So that's kind of how I was looking at it, and these jalapenos right there. Now what I'll do is I'll come over here, and this is kind of cool because where we are right now. I'm just going to roughly chop everything up. Can we see that? Here, I can move some goodness. You can just see me chopping it up. And like I said, you can do this with the cooking peppers.
Talk about the, for those that didn't watch last week or haven't watched this before, in regards to the, holding the knife and stuff like that, how you chop it up.
I'm a big fan of choking the knife. A lot of people cut with the knife back here and the knife's very flimsy in these realms because you're holding it.
Right.
If you get up on it and you put it, and I've had years, so I have a callus on it, Bill.
Maybe hold it up a little more so that, here we go.
Yeah, so I think a proper knife, and this is how I was taught, was to get up on it and hold it right there. That way the knife, you have direct contact with the whole bolster of the knife, and you are controlling where the knife is going.
Right.
When you're back here and you're doing this, your knife is very flimsy, and you don't have any much control on it at all.
Yeah. Makes a huge difference.
This is going, Now, I showed you a trick a little while ago, and you were like, wow. And you're doing it, when you're cutting meat and anything that has any kind of give or hardness resistance.
Yeah.
You realize that's look at all
Big
this
difference.
stuff. Very big difference. And then I always keep my hands like right here. My fingers always tucked behind here.
Right.
Call it the chuck and duck, the tuck right here. So these are always kind of like an animal with its legs behind it, you know.
Man, this chicken's looking good.
Yeah, it's good, huh?
Really good. And what did you call it? It's broccoli.
That's broccoli rabe or flowering broccoli, broccolini. It has I mean, I think it has a couple names. Great thing about it here,
That
we can
looks
just
good.
throw it to the dogs in the yard. You know.
Looking good.
Yeah, I've got the scallions in here too. So this is a nice warm sauce. Is basically what it's going to come down to. And all these juices are going to be in that bowl. We'll freshen it up with some olive oil, some delicious tangy lemon juice, you know, a good amount of tangy juice. So if I start to see any browning of the garlic or
It's starting to a little bit.
yeah, I just want to control that a little bit. So I always
Not
had
too much.
I think of water. I had it right around here. I always add a little water to it.
There's still quite a bit of moisture in there.
You can always add a little. That is nice little. Just to make sure.
There you go.
And we just add a little bit of that.
All right, so you get. So talk about those the sweet peppers. Did you just?
So that's the stem, you know. That's the seeds right there. I'm actually just chopping them up and putting them in there. So, just I mean,
Really sweet.
yeah. That with the spicy, the lemon, the tang, the nice roasted scallion that's in there.
Right.
Another form of onion.
Yep.
So I always think that, and I save at the last minute. I'll put that in there. So there we go. We got that all done. So that was the bulk of our work on that chopping dish. You know.
All right.
Well, I'll just take my bowl. I still got to do the jalapenos, but I want to be careful when I do those because those are going to have some heat on them.
Right.
So I want to make sure I wipe my hands down and not my face.
All right.
So we know our chicken's starting to cook really nicely in there. Good. The great part about this is I'm going to move that apart. Move that up there. It's going to continue to cook up there. And then it's going to go up there and sit on the sidelines while I cook the next vegetable. This next vegetable I want to be a little crunchier.
Right.
I'm actually put some almonds in with it.
So what's next?
We are going to put the Romanesco in next and get that. I could have put it in with the broccolini, but I like to get the broccoli a little bit more cooked. And then this will go in there.
And talk about that vegetable.
This is a cauliflower style vegetable. It's broccolini, not broccolini, Romanesco.
Okay.
So where it got its name,
Is it a different flavor, or what? Why did you pick that one, or do you just like it?
I love it. I
Yeah.
mean, you're starting to see it commonly in markets now, relative of the cauliflower. I think it's got broccoli in its place, so you can see the cone edges. It just has. I think it's cool because it does have its own unique flavor,
Right. I've never seen it before.
but it's. I see it all the time now. And yeah, I see it in all the markets. But we have the relish and that, and I'll just continue to let that go. The chicken are cooking still. And the last thing that once I move out of this step, Tom, I'm gonna go right into. Once this is done, I'm gonna make sure that the shrimp is ready to be done and my relish is ready.
Right.
So my broccoli rabe is so delicious up there right now. I'm gonna give it a touch of salt.
And if you got the chicken on this side, but you can see the juices just continually go down and add flavor.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just
keep it
rolling on down in there.
So this is gonna be having its juices going down. This will get some color on it, and then this will be ready at the same time, and the chicken should be perfectly ready to go. Cook. So, and now I've got that. Now I'm gonna deal with my jalapeno, the guy that can hurt you. So on this, I just want to be careful, and I'll put this on the side so we can adjust it if we feel that the jalapenos aren't fat. But I always find jalapenos to be very different. They're very, each jalapeno's got a little unique.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
It's got its own personality.
That's for sure. I mean, one of the things I love to do, and we'll probably do it at some point, is bacon wrap jalapenos. That's kind of one of my little specialties here.
No. There's a special place in my heart for those.
Yeah. So.
Do you do those 100% on this?
What's that?
You do those 100% on this?
Well, what I usually do is I'll do them in the smoker first.
Let me just flip that around.
I'll do them in the smoker first, and then fire. Then get the fire disc nice and hot and really sear the bacon on them. And man, it works out fantastic.
That sounds delicious.
So we'll do some of those too.
Maybe next time?
Maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see. I think one of the things too is that we'd love to get any ideas from you guys out there at recipes you'd like or things that you're interested in having us do. So, put those in the comments. That would be awesome. And then also this recipe will be online shortly after. Most of these are kind of made up as we go, and that's the cool thing with Chef Brandon's creativity, that we're able to do that kind of live, and then we'll put the recipe up. So
I like to tell people I learned how to cook so I didn't have to follow a recipe. So
that's a good
I get carte blanche on that one.
That's a good one.
But I still follow recipes. I'll look at them and stuff like that. So.
Right. Well, I think the thing I love about cooking, I mean, is the ability to be creative. I do look at some recipes, but to be able to put your own twist on it.
That's cooking up nicely. Yeah, they're cooking up nicely. They're still a little bit medium rare. I can feel right in there. Probably about medium right now.
Okay.
But in this chicken, it's got to be juicy.
Oh yeah.
I've done this, and I do stage cooking for my whole week because I try and plan out my week. And everybody thinks because I'm a chef, I'm in all these restaurants, that I get to eat all this food. Well, I try and eat healthy, so I'll make like 2 chickens for my meal period. So I do a lot of meal planning and ahead. I've had this with 8 chickens, and they turn out so moist, and it's actually, that it's once you hit it, you're lucky that they're not dried out, and you're enjoying them for the days to come. So I have a little bit of olive oil here. So I'm just going to start to marinate this stuff right here.
Okay.
Now I'm going to use the olive oil as a base sauce along with the shrimp, So I'm saying about a good cup of olive oil to this.
Okay. How's this looking here, Chef?
That's looking great. I think a little bit more.
A little more?
Yeah, we got a little bit more time on that chicken. Everybody thinks, that's so. In this is our cook area. This is our temporary cooking area. It's still cooking up in here.
Right.
And it's going slowly, but what you're doing in there is.
Maybe we'll move these up here so we probably see them a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not so mindful of that stuff, but it's definitely still cooking. And what I'll do is, if I want one end to cook better, so I actually did that kind of the way. You want to flip those around, switch them around so that fat end actually cooks. You got those tongs, and you can do that for me. That's what I love about this thing, is just being able to manipulate.
Yeah,
the cooking area in one pan. My wife loves when I cook on this thing because she knows the kitchen's gonna be clean.
That's right.
So, she's just like, and I'm outside, so I'm happy.
That's a bonus advantage.
She got me out of the house, so it's
right.
easy. So I got some nice herbs right here. I got some beautiful parsley. I'm just gonna give this a nice rough chop as well. So I'm just building our relish, and I got some beautiful basil. So just nice picked leaves. So I like that greenery to really be in here with that dramatic pepper, rainbow of colors.
Yeah, this is looking really good.
Okay.
Thinking these
So at that
Just about
moment when
ready.
I've got this all finished, because as we talk about it, we're watching it, you know, not doing that, you know. We could always have our herbs and stuff done ahead of time, but this thing, you can work as you go.
It is, and you can cook as fast or as slow as you
If you
want
need to.
with the different zones for sure.
So I got my basil and my parsley here. I don't want to go too fine with it because I really like it a little bit more rustic for this application. Ooh, right into there before the wind takes it away.
Yeah.
And I got the end of the scallions that already went in there, so another form of onion in there. So I just used, I try and use as much as I can of the vegetable.
Right.
So this is nice. Have we given this a taste? Oh, this is beautiful. So,
Good.
so good. Huh?
All right.
This is almost about done. And then, that's great.
Where do you want to slide? You want to slide it up to the side?
Yeah,
or
we'll
what?
slide up this side, but I don't want to be too fast. I want to make sure our chicken is 100% cooked.
Yep.
Because once we put the shrimp in there, we're
It's
pretty much
done.
done.
Yeah.
The shrimp takes less than a minute to cook.
Right.
And then we can go right to the plate with everything. And
Awesome.
so I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of fresh lemon juice to start the marinating process.
So that gives it a reaction.
Now, this gives it that acid, that pucker, that
Right.
tang. This will kind of liven everything up.
Sure.
You know, this could be vinegar. And I put a pinch of salt in there. You could always, if we wanted a little heat, we could always just do a little taste of that. Little spices in there. It'll bounce off that chicken really nicely. So I was thinking on this, to give it another element of flavor, is probably do Miss Diane's secret seafood seasoning for the shrimp right before we go in the pan.
Okay.
We're not going to be doing a high heat with that. So as you see this,
The last thing.
so this is kind of a little bit chunky right now. I'm going to add a little bit more oil to it because I almost want that oil to fall off of there.
Okay.
Let me give it a quick taste. But you can see those beautiful colors in there.
I think this is. Oh yeah.
That is fine.
I'm gonna slide this up. Looks like it's done.
One thing we didn't have, oh, that's good. But those jalapenos, they're friendly.
Friendly.
They're friendly. Yeah, they're good. Woo! But we like that. Now they're a little bit more lemon to jazz it up, and then once we get the shrimp in there too, we'll maybe adjust it with a touch more lemon.
Chicken looking good.
Is that chicken almost done? You happy?
It's looking.
Happy
It's
chicken?
looking pretty good.
Happy chicken? Oh yeah, it's almost done. But see how it's moist, Todd?
Yeah.
That's what I'm really preaching here. Is it's not.
Right.
So if you just jam the heat up so high and you cook this chicken in there, you know, I hope you put breading on it because you're frying chicken in a
Right.
way. So this chicken breast is going to be beautiful and moist throughout. So, and as it rests up here, you know, it's just, you can tell that's tender, like a nice, friendly chicken breast.
Awesome.
And then I sometimes will go into the very part if I don't have a thermometer, like that. Almost there. Almost there. Just a touch. Keep that down there. There we go. And if you need to, you need a little reaction. Keep the pan cool. And add a little
Add a
water.
little water.
A little water chicken stock. You don't have the lid handy. Sometimes in the lid, this is actually a very great way to steam things too.
Right,
Because I've done that with my lid. I was looking for your lid earlier, but yeah. And so all that. So now this is all ready right here. I think this is really good. That's coming into. We're gonna get our shrimp ready.
Right.
Good
Yeah,
diet.
we talked last time about, you know, cooking fast or cooking slow, and you could see this meal we're cooking at. Really, you can cook it at any pace you want to. So, if you want to cook burgers fast or dogs or whatever, you have that ability. But if you want to cook it slow, obviously it's there's so many different, like we talked about before. All the heat zones allow you to really, I mean, cook different meals and different dishes perfectly, right?
Very much. I just wish those different zones were warmer than it's up today, man.
Well, I know you've been standing over there most of the time, but I've been standing
Oh,
here,
no,
and,
you're warm.
and it's warm.
Yeah, so.
It's warm.
So.
All right, I'm going to give you the.
Okay. But we're grabbing a platter real quick, but I'm about to get the shrimp going here.
Okay.
I got to season up with Miss Diane's little secret seafood seasoning. I want to know who Diane is, right? So you got to find out that information.
We will.
So that'd be the.
There's a story behind that we'll
Okay.
share in the next episode. So.
We gotta.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe just a little bit more grapeseed oil because it's got a little bit left in the pan. And that oil that's in there can actually go into this oil. Grapeseed's a very neutral oil, so it's not gonna mess with that. It's not like another oil. And then. So if you had somebody that was allergic to shrimp or something like that, I'd already have everything taken out of this thing. So. It would be. So what we're gonna start to do, kind of.
I'll let you give you the honors.
Sweet. Here, why don't you hold it real quick right there for me? You got this nice, beautiful oniony. Now you kind of get these cool vegetables, kind of. So we show off those kinds. Get a couple that falls into there. We're gonna want all that flavoring down there. Okay. Cool. And that. We got our shrimp cooking. Second. Now I forgot to give you directions to go ahead and turn the volume up on this thing.
You turn it up a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
Turned up.
Awesome.
Yeah, it doesn't take long for shrimp in this thing, that's for sure.
No. We're at like what, 45 seconds now? Maybe a little bit more.
Yeah.
I had so much fun cooking, I lose time.
It is fun.
Yeah.
I mean, and you know, like we said last time, the ability to stand around and have conversation and cook and you know.
What I'll do is I'll go ahead and get my, because once that's ready, you can go ahead and put that down real quick and then
I'll set this right over here for now.
get some nice little almonds in there that I put in there for crunch.
Ooh,
yeah.
That's a good touch.
And I think this has got enough heat. If you want to add some more of the jalapeno seeds, that's where all the heat is, you can add it to there. Or you can just kind of leave it off in there. In this. Almost.
Man,
all that, see all this flavors, all those flavors down in there, just getting nicer.
Oh, yes.
And got a couple strays in there. Okay.
The chicken looks really good.
Beautiful.
Looking good?
Yeah, really nice.
Perfection?
Mm-hmm. Really nice.
And I think, you know, one of the other things we hope to share, and you can kind of get a sense for timing and, you know, how to cook with the FIREDISC, and with the staging and timing is really, you know, everything in regards to making sure that, you know, what do you cook first. I think that was one of the things for me when I first started using it was, you know, it's kind of a little intimidating, and I didn't really know, well, what do I cook first? So I think this is a really good, just shows you kind of some sequencing and so forth.
And we're just gonna kind of finish up. You want to hold that right over here? And we'll get that right over there. Boom, right on top. And we can put that right there. And I think we have a lot more shrimp than we anticipated for our relish, but that's always fine. So I'll put that right there and actually brighten up the herbs, and we'll come back. That's gonna.
That looks good.
And what I kind of like to do is just mix that all up, and this is my sauce. And kind of see all that dressing and herbaceousness of.
Man, it looks beautiful.
Very nice. There you go.
Man,
We'll call it chicken a la Todd. There you go. You got a dish named after you, Bubba.
Hey, that was awesome.
Cool.
Man, that's great. I can't wait to try it. Why don't
Awesome.
you
Yeah.
try it?
All right. I'm
That's
intrigued
fantastic.
about Diane now.
Yeah.
Want to meet her secret spice. That was awesome.
All right. So, man, I can't thank you enough. We'll let's answer some questions here. I know, appreciate the patience and watching. I think that hopefully you all learned a bunch here. We get my phone rocking and
Are
rolling.
you tied
here.
into the Insta land
Yeah. Yes, indeedy.
and the world of Faither?
Let's see. We got some questions here. Let's see.
This thing's so on.
Best money you'll spend in 2020. David Kelso. Brandon, you're right in the way, buddy.
Thanks, David.
It's true. Not a whole lot of questions here right now, but one says, definitely breaking mine out. This is Rusty Dean. Definitely breaking mine out. Heading to the grocery store shortly. That's awesome. And let's see. Dylan Tyler been wanting one of these for a long while, and man, I tell
What
you.
you waiting for?
Yeah, really.
Get after it, man.
C.A. Richardson, thanks for joining in. That's awesome. He does a lot of
Big
cooking on the
fisherman,
fire
yeah?
disc. Yeah, yep. So
Yeah. Hey, CA, what's up, buddy?
yeah, and then Jay Hall, the bottle opener on the tongs. That was a great touch. Yeah, it is. It's kind of cool. All of them have the bottle opener, on it as well. Let's see. Yeah, we'll keep on, giving the comments, and we'll continue to answer them for you. Also, if you left a comment, we're doing giveaways today. We got a bunch of swag.
hats,
We got
yeah.
hats. We got the koozies. We got the apron again, and the spice kit. So we'll give those away. And let's see. No, we're just super excited about this series, and
Awesome.
man, thank you so much
Fun.
for doing that. And again, we'll get the recipe up in the next few hours here on the website. But
All right.
man,
And if you give us your feedback, what you want us to cook, we can cook,
that'd
A to
be
Z,
awesome.
what we can do, we will do.
And the other thing is, go to our Facebook page, and then also if you'd like to join our Facebook group, that would be awesome. There's all of you guys, are putting recipes and photos and really cool stuff. So that's a
Very
great place to learn how to
inspirational,
use the Fire Disc as well. And I guess one last thing, we also are doing 10% off bundles for a limited time and free shipping. So if you're interested in getting a Fire Disc, we've got that promotion going on right now. But anyways, thanks so much. We'll be back next month with another episode, and hope you enjoyed it. And please keep giving us the comments, and yeah, look forward to next month. Thanks, appreciate it.
Definitely. Thanks a lot, guys.